Hey, welcome back, everybody. This is David Bush alongside of Dr. Wayne Anderson, the author of the transformational system called the Habits of Health Transformation System. We're so excited to be back with you here today, Dr. A, to talk a little bit about how to make healthy choices going into the weekend and how to continue to thrive with those choices for the rest of your life. Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you, David, and hello, everyone. And hopefully, you're staying safe and healthy during this crisis that we're going through right now. Yeah, it's really important for us to take individual responsibility for our health. Obviously, we want to at this time of what we call social distancing, but we really look at it in two parts. One is that we want to physically be separated from each other to slow down the contagion and minimize the impact, because it will overwhelm our medical delivery system if we don't. So we want to make sure we take care. So it's really important for us as citizens of the United States and citizens of the world is to take a responsibility that we're here for each other and to help each other. That's the first thing. The second thing is to take care of ourselves. So at a time like this when we're all feeling a little anxious, I mean, obviously it's an anxious time, and it's important for us to, as I talked about last time, it's okay every day to kind of measure what's going on and making sure that if you're in a high risk area that you're staying home or quarantining yourself or putting yourself in a safe place so you're not exposed. And certainly if you are exposed, that you're being taken care of and isolating yourself, or if you're sick, contact your healthcare provider or call 911 or whatever mechanism is being recommended in the locale you're at. But for the rest of us, the psychological suffering that comes from this, it's really important for us to start there and kind of have a measured response. Yeah, we should be anxious. This is an epidemic, and it's a pandemic around the world, and it puts us at risk. But the reality is, for most of us, as long as we take care of ourselves and put ourselves in the best position as far as staying healthy, staying active, eating the right foods, and putting ourselves, we're exercising daily to keep our not just our physical health, but also our mental health. All those things will help you quiet your mind, sleep better, and do all the things that are necessary. So going into a weekend like this, there's probably less interaction. Maybe you're working from home. Maybe you've lost your occupation. Whatever the situation, it's really important for us to basically stay as calm as we can during this period, to protect ourselves and to protect others. And especially for our kids, we want to provide that, yeah, this is a time that we need to be cautious and be awake and be mindful of the choices we're making, but also that take that within measure that most people, as we know, and we've heard many times by now, most people, they get this, if they do get infected, basically it's like a flu, and many people are even asymptomatic. But the key part is for us individually to think mentally, okay, I'm home now. If I've been home for maybe a week or so, what are the routines? Am I building routines? It's okay for the first few days to be a little paralyzed, but now it's time to start taking control. And so the weekend is great because usually there's less interaction with others. And if you're working from home, obviously you're not talking to as many people. So it's a great time to kind of ask yourself. So I like to look at the 6 macro habits that we have, David. Obviously, the first one is our weight management. And, it's an easy thing. If you have a scale, we want to maintain our weight. Our healthy weight is really important. The second one is healthy eating and hydration. It's really important for us to eat healthy food, lots of fruits and vegetables, lots of bright colors. And that's interesting because at a time like this, most of your grocery stores, as you know, you can't get any processed foods, but the produce aisles are usually quite full, which is great. So get lots of bright vegetables and fruits. All those things have lots of antioxidants, which help keep you as healthy as you can. The third thing is hydration. Hydration is so important for us to keep ourselves. We recommend 8-ounce glasses of water to put ourselves in position. And the next thing is habits of healthy motion. That's really important, as you see it on this diagram that David's put up. What it allows us to do is to stay active. It keeps our mind kind of relaxed. It eats up the stress hormones and things because we may feel a little bit of anxiousness or fear. So that's really great. And if you can do that within your house, if you have an area where you have a stairwell where you can go up and down the stairs, that's a great thing. If you have already been exercising, if you haven't been exercising, just start slow, start steps. Many of us have these little devices that we wear, and then we can measure our steps. And that's an awesome thing to do. And just maybe make a goal of each day, maybe increase your steps 100 steps more each day. Imagine over the next several weeks, if you did that each day, you'd get yourself up to 10,000 steps, which is what we recommend for most people. And then, of course, the next one is healthy sleep and energy management. Sleeping, David, is so important. And when we're nervous, we don't sleep as well. So it's more important for us to pay more attention to that and kind of get ourselves ready for sleep. I like to call it the twilight hour, where we put down, we stop looking at TV, we stop looking at our computers and our iPhones, and we just simply start relaxing, take a nice hot bath, warm ourselves up, cool off our bedroom, put ourselves in a position where it's nice and quiet, and get a great night's sleep. A great night's sleep prepares you every day, David, to feel better, have more energy. And then obviously, I could spend hours talking about the healthy mind and the things we do have control over our mind. It's like going to the mental gym, and I pretty much talk about this all the time now, because especially in a time of change like this, so important that we become the dominant force in our own life and take control of our mind and quiet it. If we feel emotions, sense those emotions and let them flow through us, and then resolve those things. And then the last thing, of course, right now is so important, is healthy surroundings. And that's to keep ourselves safe, separate ourselves physically, and spend time with the right things. So when you go to the grocery store, don't buy, I know it's tempting. I know you want to buy those sugary substances and those fatty substances and those fried things, but don't do it. If you bring it home, then you're most likely going to eat it. But if you don't, that's a great way to kind of prepare and put yourself in what I like to call a microenvironment of health, David.
Very good. Well, the big question we want you to answer today, Dr. A, we seem to get a lot of the comments on this, and that's the area around breaking the behavioral cycles around addictive foods. Would you be willing to just address that behavioral chain process and how we can begin to change up the cues and change up our routines, and even just maybe talk about the addictive nature of foods?
Yeah. Well, the food industry, we asked years ago, the world was starving, so we asked for cheaper food. We forgot to ask them to also make it healthy. And so much food today is ultra processed. It's full of sugar, and it causes wide fluctuations in our insulin level and our blood sugar. And when that happens, it creates a cycle of addiction. And so we get the sense and the pleasure of that instant gratification from having that really sweet substances. It raises our blood sugar. Basically, our brain feels this feeling of fullness in the brain. And what happens is then the blood sugar drops and we get cravings. And so there's this cycle that goes on and on and on. And what ends up happening is just like, it's interesting. Most people don't realize this, but I like to use this as an analogy. I talk about this in the habits health system, but I think this is important. I think it's a really good visual. So the coca bean in South America is used as a mild stimulant. People chew it, and it's kind of like drinking coffee. It doesn't cause addiction, and it's very, very mild. But when they refine it down into that white powder called cocaine, we all know what happens then. We literally cause really quick onset of addiction. And then to get off, the physical withdrawal is tremendously hard, and it's very dangerous. So same thing with sugar. Sugar beet and sugar cane are in their normal substance. Basically, they're not that addicting. But when you refine it into that white sugar, in fact, when they looked at rats would rather push the sugar thing than they would heroin. I mean, that's how addictive sugar is. And what it does is it flattens the nucleus accumbens, which is the area in the brain that creates pleasure. And so those receptors get flattened. And then so we need more and more and more to maintain that craving that we have and that sense of fullness or satisfaction. So the best thing we can do is just decide not to eat ultra processed food. I mean, basically, obviously, within our community, we use fuelings, which are engineered meals that actually have low glycemic, they're balanced protein and carbohydrate, lots of vitamins and minerals. So we can actually use there, and they're easy to prepare. So that's one way. But you don't have to do that. You can actually take fresh vegetables. If you use things that are in their normal construct, even things like fruit that's full of fiber and water. I mean, it's really the amount of sugar in it and fructose in it, and the whole piece of fruit is really not that high. So if we go to whole foods and eat whole foods and eat things that are in their natural state, basically we can recondition those receptors. Now, here's the deal. And we found this, and I've included this there's actually a survey in your life book, which is the interactive diary that we use for our clients and our patients to to really go on this journey of writing this new story of their health. And in that, there's a whole chapter on addictive foods. And I actually have people take a susceptibility index test. And we're like, there's, just like in nature, there's a bell-shaped curve of people that have different receptors and different tendencies. And there's people that are highly susceptible. It's just like, very similar to an alcoholic. An alcoholic cannot have alcohol. They can't have just, well, I'm just going to drink a little bit. No, because they're so susceptible to that addictive power of it that that'll come back and hit them. So we have the same thing with people with foods, ultra processed foods. Some people are highly addicted to them because of the sugar. And they immediately, not as soon as they go back to eating those foods, if they've been eating healthy, that addictive qualities will come back, the cravings will come back. So they really should always avoid addictive foods. So, and the amazing thing is when you really eat healthy, the natural flavors and sensations and smells and the taste profile come back so quickly once you're eating healthy, and which is great because then you really can. And the other part of that, and I have to talk about healthy mind, is that we're present. We need to be fully present for our food because if we're, and listen, I suffer from that. As a critical care physician in my training, I never knew when I was going to eat. So we'd get down to the cafeteria and, we'd woof down the food just like my Labrador retriever. I mean, it was like 3 bites and I was done. And it's a tendency I have, when I'm distracted or not thinking and I'm eating, if I don't take the time. So one of the micro habits for me is to chew my food like 15 times. Just make the decision, okay, I'm gonna feel and taste it, and it slows that process down. Now, when you have whole food, it's a lot easier to do that. When you're having an ultra processed like a candy, and I think I talked about this last time, but a candy bar basically has about the same amount of calories as 3.5 pounds of broccoli. So imagine eating 3.5 pounds of broccoli. It would fill your stomach. You'd do that for several days. But the candy bar you could eat easily because it's so energy dense, and then it stimulates your blood sugar to go up, and then you have that craving. So all day long you have that craving cycle, David. And so the way to really stop it is, and I would just say this: if you have an urge to eat sweet things all the time, and you feel the sensation for it, then you probably, and you can go into the life book, but just in general, if you have a tendency to be overwhelmed with the need to eat sugary things, then you probably are highly susceptible and probably should realize that this is not for me, right? Just like the alcoholic, you probably shouldn't eat those kind of foods. And you shouldn't eat them anyway, because they're not healthy for you. They especially at a time like this. So here's the perfect scenario. You asked me about the weekend. The weekend is the time when we're used to mentally being in more leisure. And right now, we've been home, most of us, all week. And now we're in the weekend, and the tendency is, I'm going to watch a movie and eat whatever I feel like it. And you want to break that tendency because, we need to now make the adjustments to stay as healthy as we can, to protect ourselves, make sure that we're fixing meals that are healthy for our kids and for our other family members, and just start doing it's the right thing to do. It's the thing that will put you in the best possible position to stay healthy. And being healthy is important, not just, by the way, because of the current health situation, but because it's important to be healthy, to have a high quality life and have longevity and live a longer time at a healthy state.
Very good. Well, for those of you that are not aware of Dr. A's Habits of Health Transformation System, it starts with a free downloadable app that you can use to just track your healthy nutrition and hydration, as well as a Stop Challenge Choose interactive behavior modification tool that helps you to really stop some of those behavior changes that you'd like to stop doing, and it helps you to start doing the things that you want. There's also a life book that is your individual life book that helps you to write your new story. Rather than focusing in on all the things you haven't done, it helps you to focus on what you can do. And then there's the reference book, the Habits of Health book, that is the reference guide. And Dr. A, and all of those resources that are available at habitsofhealth.com, you talk about creating more optimal days. And I just thought maybe you could kind of wrap up things with, all we can take care of is what is today. Could you just talk more about how to create an optimal day using this model we're showing on the screen?
Yeah, and I would love to. And, as you said, the habitshealth.com site, the app, all those things are free. I know, right now people are struggling financially, so you don't need to buy anything. But I just think by using some of these pieces, you can start to take back some control. And when we're anxious and we're fearful or have anxiety, it's so much better to first be knowledgeable and then to start working on things that you have control of. And that's what I love about this. 10,000 years ago, we would go to sleep at night after a hard day of out gathering. We'd sit around the campfire, we'd commiserate with each other and tell stories. And then we go to sleep and we wouldn't get up till the sun came up. So we got lots of restorative sleep. And then we get up and then we'd be active all day. And so we were relatively healthy. Unfortunately, with light now, with being sequestered in your house, it's really important for you to kind of set a schedule and a routine, because the routine you had before when you were working, you may not have now. So what a great opportunity to kind of set a schedule. What we want, and you can see here, we'd love you to have between 7 and 8 hours is considered ideal. Everybody's a little different, but 8 hours of high quality sleep. And so I love setting my day around that to make sure I get 8 hours. And I've always been disciplined to do that. If I go to bed later, then I get up. Fortunately, I have my schedules my own. So if I'm staying up late writing or working with people on the West Coast, bottom line is I make sure that I get enough sleep. I let myself wake up naturally. And now I average about 8 hours of sleep a night. And what it does is allows me, especially at times like this, when we're so busy helping support people and help them figure out how to adjust to the new way of living and how to help them with their minds, is that I want to feel rested. I want to feel like I'm in command and control and not tired throughout my day. So that's the first part. The next part, you can see, and I talked about it earlier, is the twilight hour is the hour before, where you kind of just shut everything down and you start preparing. So when you're creating a routine, that routine or ritual is ritus, which is basically routine. And the Romans created the afternoon siesta to have a time to take a nap and sleep in the afternoon. And they were actually kind of using the circadian clock that we're talking about here. But the neat thing about it is that twilight hour. And then when you get up in the morning, spend that first hour, especially if you're home now. And, what can I do today? What are the things that are most important to do? Obviously, one thing will be taking care of your health. Great opportunities to start in the morning and do just a few minutes, like 10 minutes or 5 minutes, even 1 minute to start with, just kind of centering yourself, kind of say, okay, there's things going on today. I want to assess what's going on. I want to know where we are in terms of the status of the country and with the pandemic. And then understand, okay, what are the things that I need to change today? And then institute those things and then go on with your day, focusing on doing things that help you move forward. Whether it's making sure you're feeling your body every 3 hours, as you showed on there, whether it's making sure that you're taking hourly. If you are sitting at your desk, like if I'm sitting here for an hour giving a talk, then I'll get up and move around, walk up and down the stairs, or go for a walk, or do some burpees or whatever, sit-ups or push-ups or something that I'm staying active throughout the day, and just building in those routines. Because you hit it on the head. This crisis will pass, but what if we use this opportunity to really build in the habits? And habits, listen, first you build your habits and then your habits build you. That's just the way it is, because we run our day on automatic. And if you're building in right now, what a wonderful time, in this unfortunate time when this is going, what a wonderful time to take back control and start building your choices, your activities, and behaviors that support your long-term health, David.
Very good. For those of you that are watching live or watching the recording, would you put a comment inside of the Facebook Live and just give some feedback? If you have been benefiting from these live videos, or if you've benefited from the Habits of Health system, please give us some feedback. We would love to share the hope and encouragement and inspiration with other people. And as we said earlier, if you'd like some free resources, please visit the habitsofhealth.com website. Click on the system resources up here at the top right-hand corner, and there's plenty of resources in here for you to download and use on your own discretion. Shopping charts, all kinds of great resources, as well as over 70 different home-based exercise programs. And then reach out to the person that shared this video with you. We have a Healthy Habits community where we provide ongoing encouragement, healthy stories of transformation, as well as a weekly Habits of Health community time where we dialogue on the different elements of the Habits of Health Dr. A talked about. So any final words, Dr. A, to encourage everybody today?
Yeah, I would like to say this, that listen, we're in this together. We're all humans, and it's really important that we take care of each other. And I love doing this, and I hope it's helpful. And hang in there. This will help make us stronger together as a nation, as a world. The world's changing. We need to change with it. It's a great time for us to take care of each other, and let's go out and become as healthy as you can. Work on this. Stop, challenge, and choose. I know it's difficult, and I know there's a lot of anxiety, but we will get through this, and we need you to be strong for your family, for yourself, and for the country and for the world. Thanks, David.
Thank you so much for your leadership, Dr. A, and thank all of you who joined in and who shared this video. We appreciate your leadership and being the champions out there in the field during this difficult time. Thanks, everybody.
Be safe and healthy.